Hey everyone, it's Michelle with CR from home. I hope everybody is safe and at home and doing everything that they need to do. Unfortunately, we are still not meeting, so you get me live. There's also several meetings going on every night on the main CR page on Facebook. So if you get, where you just need a meeting and you're just not able to make this one or another one or AA or NA or anything online, CR is going live every night. Tonight I wanted to go over the 8 principles. I've been asked time and time again what exactly they are, and tonight I kind of want to touch base on that. I know we would normally be doing the next lesson or a testimony if we were meeting in person, but we don't. I just felt like that this was something we needed to go over, and it was kind of touching my heart tonight. Right now, currently, UCC at CR is not meeting, but I can't wait to get back to you. Normally, we would be on a Thursday night. We would feed you at 5:30, and we would start worship at 6:30, and then we'd have small groups at 7:30. So we can't wait to get back to a little bit of normal. So tonight, again, we're going to go over the principles. And the 8 principles is what the steps and everything is based off of. The 8 principles are actually based off of the Beatitudes in the Bible. It's something you can really go by to know that if you're spiritually sick. And when I say spiritually sick, what I mean is when you are literally walking around dead. I was walking around alive, and I was very much spiritually dead when I was in recovery. So it's hard to watch. It was hard to watch for my family. It was hard to watch for my kids. It's just hard to watch because there is no joy in anything you do. You can fake it until you make it, but there's just no joy. So we're going to go over these. So this is based off the road to recovery. Principle 1. Realize I'm not God. I admit that I am powerless to control my tendency to do the wrong thing and that my life is unmanageable. This is step 1. Scripture is, blessed are the poor in spirit, Matthew 5:3. A lot of times when you get a lot of people that are sick and they're poor in spirit, it's a lot of the misery. Misery loves company, and that can be said for anybody that's in recovery, anybody that's in life. Misery loves company. When you're poor in spirit and you're spiritually sick, everything feels horrible. And to do that first principle and realize that I'm not God is so hard. It's hard for me. But then at the end of the day, when I finally was like, look, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm doing this on my own terms, my own way, and it's just not working. And I have to do something different. It was freeing because then that was something I had control over. Vodka had taken over my life so much. I had no friends, I had no family, had no husband, had no kids. It had taken over. And when I gave it away, when I was like, I can't do this anymore, I took my power back. In a sense, yes, you were powerless over that drug, alcohol, whatever hang up and habit you have, but you take that control back. Principle 2. Earnestly believe that God exists, that I matter to Him, and that He has the power to help me recover. Step 2. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 5:4. Essentially, you're mourning. You're mourning your old life. You're mourning the life that you give up. You're mourning everything you put before God. And I had to realize that everything I was doing was not of God. It was of my choosing. That's why it wasn't working. I had to believe that something bigger than me existed and He could handle it, because He'd put me in that jail cell for a reason. He'd put that inmate beside me to let me know, hey, all you got to do is just give it to God. That's all He's doing. He's waiting on you. And as soon as I did, things changed for me. No, it wasn't easy. No, this wasn't, a piece of cake. It's hard. It's hard every day. There's weeks that it's hard. Today's even been a little stressful with all the rain and worried about power and how I was going to actually do this. And honestly, talking about this makes me a little nervous because I want to do it right. Because this is it. This is your recovery. This right here. This is what you can't mess with. This is what has worked. because God put it in place. And it doesn't say that you don't have to not be mad at him. It's just you have to realize that you matter to him. How many of you don't think, I'm not worthy of God. I've done this. I've cheated. I've lied. I've sinned against this person. I've hurt this person. I drink on a daily basis. How many of you? Because if you do, that's just not true. He loves you where you're at. He just doesn't want you to stay there. He'll pick you up and he'll dust you off. But when you get done feeling in those feelings, he wants you to move forward. He wants better for you. He wants you to be joyful. Not happy, joyful. Joyful is something that no emotion, that anybody can't take away. Yes, it might be a bad time right now, but you're joyful that you're actually going through it, because that means you're sober enough or of clarity of mind enough to go through it. There's a peace in that. When you get in recovery, it's not going to be all roses. And it can be recovery from alcohol. It can be recovery from drugs. It can be recovery from heroin. It can be recovery from a cheesecake because you eat your emotions. It can be recovery from porn. It can be recovery because you're so addicted to being with this person and this drama. It's anything that you put in front of anything else. Anything that you put before God, that's your addiction. It can be going to the gym. Something as simple as that. Something that you do before you have that clarity of mind before God, that you put before your family, is an addiction. And he loves you anyway. And he just wants you to know he loves you. He wants you to know that you matter to him. That's all step 2 is. Step 1, here God, I can't do it. Step 2, I matter to you. I matter enough to do better. Step 3, consciously choose to commit all my life and will to Christ's care and control. Step 3, blessed are the meek. Matthew 5:5. I consciously commit. Okay? Well, there was a time I consciously committed to hiding my vodka, to lying, to cheating, to do what I had to do to get drunk every day. I consciously committed to that. So when I was at my bitter end, I consciously committed to doing whatever I had to do to be better, because I was done. I was done waking up with those feelings. I was done with the 4 horsemen over my head. I was done with the shame, the regret. I was done. And once I was done, I was willing to do whatever it takes. I was entirely ready. When I detoxed in jail and got home, I knew that wasn't it. That wasn't the rest of the road. I had to finish. I had to follow through. I had to figure out what I was doing. That's how I knew I was entirely ready. Before, when I got my first DWI, yeah, I was sober. But the only thing sober about me was chemically. I was still resentful. I was still bitter. I was still mad at the world. The only difference is that I didn't have a drink in my hand. So I thought I was, I was on my high horse. I can do this. And I fell. And I fell hard. And every time you go back out there, you do. You fall a little bit harder. But guess what? You fall down 7. Get your butt up and walk out there 8. Hold your head up high. Yes, guess what? You're going to have to mend whatever fences and whatever toxicity you were to somebody. You need to own that. You hurt them. They didn't hurt you. Now, they may have hurt you. There may be people in your life that hurt me. There's people in my life that hurt me. There's people on my 4-step that I'm like, yeah, okay. You'll forever be on my 4-step. But I don't have those feelings anymore. I'm not drinking the poison expecting them to drop dead. I was drinking the poison dropping dead. So now I don't carry that with me. But the one moment that I had that moment of clarity, and every time that I feel weak and I have that moment of clarity, that's when I know I have choices. And I have to lead on what I know. I need to call my sponsor, both of them. I need to do what I need to do. I need to put pen to paper. I need to take a walk. I need to pray. I need to hit my knees and pray. Because I don't want to go back down there. Because I can drink again. I know how to drink again. It's all around me. But I'll never do another recovery. Never. I won't make it. And that scares me. But that fear only keeps me sober so long. God keeps me sober the rest. Step 4, openly examine and confess my faults to myself, to God, and to someone I trust. That's steps 4 and 5. So that would be your sponsor. Because you can't do this alone. First of all, you have to know that you're doing it with God. And let me be real clear. Some people say this doesn't work for them. Okay. Are you sober? Are you happy? Are you content? Are you satisfied with your life? Do you live in serenity? You do, and you didn't need this? That is amazing. I love to hear that. I've heard testimonies of that. I wish it was that easy for me. It's not. There are people out there that this doesn't work for. I don't care what you use, as long as you use something. You have to openly examine and confess my faults. I have to say I'm wrong. I hate saying I'm wrong. It sucks, but it's what's needed. Because once I admit my faults, they're gone. As far as my mind being clouded from them. That guilt I'm taking every day, gone. It will come back. Satan will whisper in my ear, say, remember that time you did this? Remember that time you did it? Yeah. The wreckage of my past pops me in my face all the time. All the time. And there was an incident the other day that I had to have my car worked on. Well, I forgot to tell him a step, so I got a violation. That's not his fault, because at the end of the day, had I not drank and drive, I wouldn't have the blow and go. So at the end of the day, it's my fault. It was a big misunderstanding. Now, before, I'd have blew up. But it wasn't his fault. It just happened. Crap happens, but thanks to recovery, I know how to deal with it a little better. Doesn't mean I always do it right. It doesn't mean I do it perfect, because Lord knows I'm not perfect and I don't walk on water by any stretch of the imagination, nor do I pretend to. I don't know this perfectly. There are people in recovery that I watch every day. I watch something every day for my recovery because I want to make sure that I'm getting fed. Last night I watched our church's Wednesday night service. And, the last couple Wednesday nights, it stepped on my toes because it has talked about, yes, we are the church. Yes, we want to rush back to church. But at the same time, am I really going to be at church every Sunday? I would love to say I would be, but because of my job, no, I won't be. Well, who am I to say I need to do this and this and this? It's been good, and it's what I've needed. And it's like every time I read a step to a sponsee, I figure out something different. I find about a fault about myself, and that's hard. It's very hard. Step 4 and 5 are very hard, but they're very needed. 1, 2, and 3 get you there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are the meat and the potatoes. 4 and 5 is that good old appetizer. You're getting in it, and it's getting good. And 5, you finally finished it. And now 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're starting to eat that meal and have that dessert. No, it's not that pretty. It's not. But I don't know any other way to put it other than that you have to dig in. You have to look at yourself. Because it's those character flaws that keep you in the same cycle. That you're playing the victim, that you're being manipulative, that you're lying and cheating. And, my character flaws were this long. I mean, like, it was them. My sponsor still loves me to look at it. Sorry, I'm rambling. Principle 5. Voluntarily submit to every change God wants to make in my life and humbly ask Him to remove my character defects. We all make mistakes every day. We're human. I got asked today, well, isn't the church us? We're the body. Absolutely. Because I've been church hurt before. I've been very church hurt before. And I had to remember this time when I got church hurt earlier this year that I have to voluntarily submit to every change God wants me to make. That means I can't fly off the handle. That means I need to think about it with a level head. Maybe I need to take pen to paper and do a mini step 4. I need to pray. But I have to submit and humbly ask Him, dear God, and I do this every day, dear God, please take away my character defects. Please don't let me get in the way. I do that before I do one of these because I'm very nervous. I don't want to put myself into these. I want y'all to hear nothing but God. Because I don't, and I'm not trying to ram Him down your throat. I've been called a Bible thumper since I started these, and that's okay. I don't care what you believe. All I know is what God did for me. I would love to see you in heaven. I hope you believe in God. If you want to draw nearer to Him, contact me. Let's do it. All I can tell you is what He saved me from, and He saved me from hell. Straight up hell. I was in it. The fires were licking me. I was dancing. I was all about it. I had no idea how to get out. And then once I was treading water, slowly but surely starting to drown again, I asked for His help. And He literally pulled me out, set me on my feet, and gave me these steps. To the point where when I went to rehab for 4 months, we didn't use CR. CR was an option, but we used AA. And AA is awesome. It's amazing. It's an amazing program. It's the same 12 steps. I love the fact we can work with AA and NA and Al-Anon and everything with CR. I love AA. But when it was time for me to need something a little different, God placed this in my life. He's good like that. So I have to voluntarily know that if He's good enough to do that and He loves me, I have to voluntarily submit to every change God wants to make in my life. And it's hard because I've had control for so long. We've had control over what we thought was a non-chaotic life. And now it's in pure chaos. And now we're lost and we're alone and we just don't know what our next step is. That's like these, you can't skip steps. You can't say, oh, I feel bad, now let me go say I'm sorry. No. There's a step, there's a time, there's a place, and it's God's time and it's God's place. You have to submit to that. You have to know that He will take those character defects from you. In His time, when you're willing to submit it. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Righteousness is one of those churchy words. And people are like, well, I don't want to be righteous. No, I don't want to be righteous at all. But I do seek to be better. That's what righteousness is, to be better. Be better in God. I want to know when I get to heaven, I will hear you did a good job. I fail daily as a mom. I fail daily as a wife. I just want to know that there's one time in my life during the day I reach to God. When I'm having a bad day, I have to do nothing but pray. When I'm fighting, one of us, me or my husband, has to say, wait a minute, let's just stop and pray. When me and my girls are fighting, I have to say, whoa, let's just stop and pray. We got to stop and pray. Because that's who you're submitting to. I hunger to be better because my recovery is due every day. I have to do something every day for my recovery or I'll lose it. And when I lose it this time, I'll lose everything. And I'm just not ready for that. Principle 6. Evaluate all my relationships. Offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me and make amends for harm I have done to others. Offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me and make amends for harm. So I'm going to point out real quick, this is steps 8 and 9. This is not steps 1 and 2. This is not steps 4 and 5. This is steps 8 and 9. You need to do your 4th and 5th step before you know who you need to make an amends to. You can't skip steps because it doesn't work, because they're not going to believe your I'm sorry. They've heard, and a lot of people, my husband had heard I'm sorry so many times, the words had lost their meaning. This is where you put your walk into your talk, your action into everything that you're saying, because you've been far enough along that now you know. Because if not, when that person that you find doesn't accept your forgiveness, you're not going to understand. And you're going to be mad about it. And you're going to be bitter about it. And, well, I did everything I was supposed to do. Why didn't he trust me? Why didn't he? Well, let's go back and look at your 4-step and let's see. Let's look at your my part. Would you trust you? You have to take ownership. Yes, I am proud as crud that you were working your recovery. But you have to know that when you were in your addiction, regardless of what it was, you hurt people. So you can't skip steps and make amends on 3 and 4 and expect it to be all hunky-dory. Because you don't even know what you're apologizing for. You don't even know what action you need to take. And this is serious. Like, this is a big step. This is a hard step. All the steps are hard. Except 12. 12 is one of my favorites. But to actually sit there and evaluate all my relationships, that's your evaluation. Your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, your relationship with yourself. When's the last time you looked at that? You should have looked at that in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And especially 6. But do you love you? Are you there yet? Because let me tell you something. I will love you until you can love you. Because essentially that's what's wrong. You don't love yourself. You don't think that you're worth anything. You don't think you're worth God saving. You don't think, well, my mom and dad didn't love me. My ex-husband didn't love me. That boy in school didn't love me. My family didn't love me. So why would God love me? Or I've done this, this, and this, so I'm not worthy of God's love. So who would forgive me? Or I don't want to look at myself. You have to do the steps. You have to work on y'all. Who have hurt me and make amends for harm I have done to others, except when to do so would harm them or others. Look, we've all done stuff. And to re-talk about it would harm them. You don't do it. I had a lady explain it to me. We were actually in a big group meeting at rehab, and one of the ladies was kind of confused on this. And she's like, so I owe my dope dealer money. She said, no, you're not going to go pay it back because that's a harm. But, like, what if you owe your mom money? What if you owe your grandmother money? What if you owe, your church money? I mean, those are little amends that you can make and pay back. Blessed are the merciful, Matthew 5:7. Blessed are the peacemakers, 5:9. I learned that I just didn't like drama anymore in my life. And there was a lot of times that I would be in a text conversation with people that were very close to me. People that, would get all riled up and they would, text. And it was one of those things where I'd have to be like, stop. Now go back and read what you just text me and see how you would take it. Because I just don't want the drama, and I don't want any of the confusions, and I don't want the bitterness and any of that, because I can't afford it. I have to know that when I want to jump on that bandwagon and it's not of peace, then it's not of God. Like, essentially, God just wants us to be happy. And being happy means I have to look inside myself and try to make amends so my side of the street is clean. A lot of people get to this step and they're like, or this principle, and they're like, well, I was right. I don't forgive them. No, you shouldn't. But you can forgive yourself. Have you forgiven yourself yet? Are you still carrying that guilt, that shame? That's what you have to forgive, yourself. That's the one person we forget. In all these steps, that's the one person we forget is ourselves. And that's the one person we're supposed to be working on. Principle 7. Reserve a daily time with God for self-examination, Bible reading, prayer in order to know God and His will for my life and to gain the power to follow His will. This is steps 10 and 11. These are the maintenance steps. What that means is every day, I have to look at myself. What could I have done better today? Okay, well, let's do it tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. There's some good things that I'm like, oh, okay, well, so-and-so's doing a little bit better. So that is, and trust them, know that when you're doing better, I get so excited. When you make that discovery on your own, my sponsees, and you're like, well, I should have done this, or I had a great day today, or I didn't use today. That makes me so happy. And then there's times I'm like, oh, I wasn't the yelling mom today. Yay! Because let's face it, we're in quarantine. But it also lets you forgive yourself at the end of the day. Because we don't walk on water. Even though it's a monsoon outside, we're not going to go out there and walk on that water. We're just not. Principle 8, the last principle. Yield myself to God to be used to bring this good news to others, both by my example and by my words. You have to give it away. What that means is that you have to live your life, because people, once you're in recovery or once people are watching you and you're doing better, people are watching. They're always watching. It's like the number one on Minions, or not Minions, Monsters Incorporated. We're a Disney family. I'm watching. I'm always watching. There's always somebody watching. Always. But they're also watching you in a good way, because sometimes they want what you have. Yes, you little old broken you that think you have nothing to give nobody. Even the newest person in recovery can teach you something. The old timers in recovery can teach you something. I pray every day that I help somebody. And that I'm just not blowing smoke and rambling, especially before one of these. That's all I want to do. I want to give it away. When I see, especially when I saw my best friend's family a couple years ago, so lost and so alone and down on their knees, it broke me inside. Like, it broke my heart, because then, and I know this sounds really selfish because I was there for them, because that's when I got this hunger to do this, to start CR, because I don't want people as lost and as alone as they are, because you're not alone, and you don't have to be lost. If you don't know anything else tonight, you don't have to be alone, and you don't have to be lost, especially now. Even if you live alone, you're not alone. That's just around you. Spiritually, you're not alone. I would be in my pajamas praising Jesus at the top of the lungs, hoping my neighbors didn't hear me. I do that anyway. But if I'm alone, at least I don't have an audience. You have to find the good. You have to hold on to the good. You have to find a prayer that works for you. You have to hold on to God. You have to hold on to that faith, even if it's for a second, for that day. That second will turn into a minute. That minute will turn into an hour. That hour will turn into a day. That day will turn into a week. And then soon, you'll have a whole month. And that whole month will turn into another one. It's not pretty. And it's hard. But God, it's worth it. If you need anything, my name is Michelle Morton. I'm with UCC at Your Community Church, CR. Message me. You're not alone, and you're beautiful, and you're worth it. And God loves you.